In this video, we will learn about the ONESHOT symbol in simple programming. To find the ONESHOT in the symbol library, expand the Logic Symbols folder. Then, we'll expand the Timers folder. Locate the ONESHOT symbol, click, hold, and drag it to the Logic folder in the Program view. The first thing we notice is that there is a star, ! on the symbol. This means the symbol is not complete. Most symbols will come in as incomplete. It is up to us to complete them. Double-click the ONESHOT symbol to expand it into the detail view. Notice that all of the input and output signal lines on the ONESHOT are blue. This symbol uses digital signals. All of the arrowheads are black to indicate the symbol cannot be expanded on the input or output side. The ONESHOT is mainly used to create a single pulse of pulse time duration when a trigger is sensed. Once the ONESHOT triggers, it will not accept another trigger until it has completed the pulse time. This ensures only one pulse occurs. The optional signals have square brackets around them. They are not required to complete the symbol, and you may choose to use them if you need them. The ONESHOT has specific behavior depending on how it is triggered. The signal trig will start the ONESHOT on a rising edge. All it takes is the transition of trig from low to high to start the ONESHOT. Pulse time will have to be completed before a new rising edge will trigger the ONESHOT. The optional trig star signal will start the ONESHOT on the falling edge. This means when trig star is used, the ONESHOT doesn't start until trig star sees a transition from high to low. Imagine someone pressing a button and releasing it a few seconds later. When the user presses the button, the ONESHOT doesn't start. When the user releases the button, that's when trig star starts the ONESHOT. The optional signal reset provides a way to cancel the ONESHOT before the pulse time has been completed. If the reset is held high, the ONESHOT will ignore all triggers until the reset signal is returned to low. The out signal line is where the output pulse happens when the ONESHOT is triggered for the pulse time duration. The optional signal out star is the complement of out. For example, we will use the ONESHOT to take a button press as a trigger and supply a 5-second pulse. This can be useful when a device requires the user to press and hold a button on a remote control to power the unit on or off. Using the ONESHOT allows the user to press the button once on our touch panel, and the program will make the correct pulse length for them. We have a touch panel already in our program. Double-click it and expand it into the detail view. We will add a signal to press 1. Name it Trigger Press. On feedback 3, add a signal named Output Pulse. This will be tied to an indicator on the panel that will illuminate while the ONESHOT is active. We can now land those signals on the ONESHOT. Bring Trigger Press to the trigger line of the ONESHOT. Bring the Output Pulse signal to the ONESHOT output line. The last thing we need is to add a pulse time. Make that 5S for 5 seconds. In this example, the user will press the button tied to press 1. When the button is pressed, the ONESHOT will see a rising edge on the trig input. This will cause the ONESHOT to begin a pulse where the signal output pulse will remain high for the pulse time of 5 seconds. During this time, any additional presses on the button will have no effect until pulse time has completed. We can give the user a way to cancel the pulse with a button press. We'll add a signal to press 2 on the touch panel and name it ONESHOT Cancel. Land that ONESHOT Cancel on the optional reset line of the ONESHOT. When the user presses the button on press 1, the ONESHOT will begin to pulse on that rising edge. If the user then presses the button on press 2 while the pulse time is still running, the ONESHOT will abort the pulse. This time, we'll move the trigger pulse signal down to the optional trig star line, making sure we delete it from the trig line. This time, the user presses the button and holds it down. The trig line is required on the ONESHOT symbol. In order to make this symbol complete, we will need to add a // to the trig signal line. The ONESHOT does nothing. As soon as the user lifts their finger from the button, that falling edge will trigger the ONESHOT to make the 5-second pulse on the output signal. This concludes this video on the simple ONESHOT symbol.